Hello everyone, how you doing today? Thought I ought to get working on this Alien Starter CV or the Kriel Starter CV again. Last video was kind of addressing a lot to do with these extension arms. I was kind of playing around with trying to put some launchers on it, or at least upgradable to that, and I realized that by doing that I exposed some air tanks, which I don't like that either. But anyway, figured I'd get going on this again. First part I think I want to address is this top section above here. I want to make this look better. And I'm trying to be mindful of turret positions. I would like to get 5 to 7 turrets on this. And I think being Kriel, being very hostile type nature of what they are, I do want this to be more aggressive than what the MCRN starter ship is, and probably more firepower than, or be able to upgrade to more weaponry, such as like launchers and things like that, where the other ship does not do that. In Sacrifice, this one will probably have a little less storage, but I would expect it to at least have 320k storage. The other one has 480. So we'll see how it comes out. It's all CPU dependent though. But for now, what I really want to do is try to make this front area look more aggressive and do something with the top part of it. I don't want it all boring and flat. Now, if you take a look at like the gast here, what I did is it had a similar kind of angle. It was a little sharper, but I did a lot of breakups in that angle to just add stuff. And then I also like this little gun position on the top. Now, unfortunately, being a CV, I don't really have those kinds of guns to put on here, but that's all right. That's all right. Can do a lot of other stuff. Um, One of my first things I wanted to experiment with is what if I made this angle here more aggressive on the front. Now, right now it's kind of a roundy type pattern, more of an oval. I'm looking over here, and this is kind of more of a sharper um, look to it. Not that I necessarily like that over this one, but I just want to see if there's something I could do here to change this to make it look a little meaner, um, without, of course, wasting too many blocks in the process. So, yeah, it could get a little tricky, though. Here, I better get symmetry going here, too, before I get carried away. Um, so I'm kind of bringing this back to this area here on the angle, with the idea of trying to change it a little bit. Not a lot, but just some. Or maybe add in like a alternative curve to it. See how it looks. So here, or maybe even a different pattern entirely, like having like some things sticking out over here or something. Maybe that could work. I don't know, I'm going to follow this angle through a minute and see what it comes out to be. I don't know. Maybe. Maybe I just kind of made it more boring. Not sure. In some ways, I do like that. Okay, maybe I need to do something up here in this area to give it a little bit of more places to add some texture lights or some other things somehow. using some different blocks. I think my lighting's going. No, I guess I do have the lighting right. All right. That's a little too trim, I think. If it did something like that. Alright, so on the sides here, now I kind of would like to trim these in to fit. There is a weird solution for this. I'm not super thrilled with the converter block, this one basically, to allow for this. Has to do with how the UV is on it a little bit. Well, it's not bad. Nah, never mind. It works pretty good. Okay, I think I can, I think all this part's okay. And we could always add those there too to curve that out a little bit. Alright, well, let's say that stays the way it is. What if, what could I do here basically? I was trying to get like this line in the middle of it to split that curve up, similar to how it was done over there. Now on the top of this, I'm willing to go up another block row, but a thin block row above here, because this part here I figure is all going to be like just top of the ship. It's not going to be a landing pad or anything, and looks wise, I really don't want to add necessarily a big landing pad, but function wise, it would be stupid not to, especially on a starter CV. It gives you a lot more docking space, which is going to be probably more needed than ever moving forward with multiple solar systems with Alpha 12 and things. So this area is fair game for me to add turrets and blocks to. This area probably just going to be flat landing pad, and I think that would probably work out the best, so I can get a little bit of both on here. So here I'm going to get to some of these angles here and try to figure out how I want to pull this off. Now I could go with like this angle. Actually that does look alright. But to really accomplish even a better looking curve transition, like going up this line here and then back, and I kind of want it to be as roundy as I can get it, what I'm actually going to look at is go for the really thin blocks here. And there's a wedge shape for that as well. So then I can get this really fine angle here to some extent. Now, on this part here, I have to use essentially this block, and there isn't like, I don't believe there is, oh yeah, there is. No, that's different. There's a block like this, and it would almost work out right if this this line was in the polygon itself backwards, like if the line went from here to here, I think. That would create a weird wedge too. Never mind. Here, let's just pop in this then. Nope, not that one. Which one am I looking for? The super thin one. Okay, so we're going to stick some of these over here for a little bit. Now, there's one other block I wish the game had too, and it's if you look at the block I've got kind of sitting here now, if there was a block that was a small wedge that would fit in that location there, that would be really cool. That one I know that it does not have, But it's just there are several more blocks I think that the game could stand to have yet, at least, and actually a lot more than that. It depends, on how much you want to add and how much you need. Now, I don't think it necessarily needs a whole lot more than it has, but the more the merrier. You just got more options, more things you can do with more blocks, and sometimes finding unusual combinations of those blocks is a really cool thing. But what I'm trying to do is kind of do a bit of a layered approach over here, so I can create some different like body lines and things to add in, I don't know, detail essentially. And on this part, let's see here, trying to come up with a neat looking design pattern or something that kind of is wedge shape, would work with the body, add in, make this area look more detailed. Of course, I'm using more blocks in the process to accomplish this, but I think that's just going to be needed. It's Kriel, and I accept that. That is going to be a little bit more expensive because I'm going to try to add in more, I don't know, flares and details and things like that. I could wedge this out so it's smooth as well on what I'm doing right here. I might end up doing that. It's an aerodynamics thing. Even though this is a really thin surface here, I do think it would still look better if it was angled at the front. So let me try that a minute. Replace those with wedges instead, and then those. Okay, so I'm all right with that. Now these locations here is where I kind of had set up for turrets. Now they could stay up front like that, or they could go back a block as well. Debate on this one too, and there was a comment that I got on one of the Steam posts, actually on the recent Pioneer, that talking about retractable turrets, on why I don't use more retractable turrets. And I might have said this before in past videos, that basically the use of a retractable turret, I believe, weakens the ship for the amount of space. For instance, like right here, if I were to slap down a turret over this, the turret itself, the non-retractable turret, and I'll show you in both cases. So this turret here has 3,450 hit points. Each block, now I'm just using steel blocks on this ship, so they are the weakest I could probably use for normal hull, but each one of these blocks has 500 hit points below this turret as well. If this turret gets destroyed and doesn't take out the blocks below it, you have a ceiling. You have an intact ceiling on your ship, and you don't have a hull breach. So if I were to go, oh, that's a dumb way to do it. If I were to go with a retractable turret here, basically in the same space at least, without like building up a big area and sealing it off, it's going to save me some blocks, because I won't need 9 blocks below. Oh, darn it. I won't need 9 blocks below it, but you're looking at the hit points here, it's the same amount of hit points, and if this gets destroyed, you have a gaping hole in your ship. So that's why I don't like to use them. Now, when the turrets are retracted, their hit points actually does go up some, but of course they're not shooting either. So for instance here, let me, I'm gonna, oh, not thrusters, turrets. So I'm gonna retract these a minute and just take a look at the difference in hit points. Oh, I swear the turrets used to, when they were retracted, would have more hit points, but that seems to have changed. So now they're identical even if retracted. So yeah, basically it looks neat. I think the retractable turrets look cool. The animation's cool. Everything about that is cool. But as in a functional standpoint, unless you're trying to save costs, um, it's not as safe. Or if you're willing to build up the area and put a block row below the retractable turret, you're okay. But in the same amount of space, you could have added 2 block rows with a standard turret. So that's essentially why I typically don't use retractable turrets. Um, in this case, I might, because it's a starter ship, and it's going to save me, at least even with the 2 turrets up here, it's going to save me 18 blocks I don't have to use on the ship. But it is weaker because of it. So that's, I'm just basically trying to respond to a comment that I got somewhere else, and the reason why I view it this way, I guess. All right. Well, back to business here. I guess I got to keep that with a debate on retractable turrets or non-retractable turrets. Now, I'm creating a problem, though, and I hate this part of it, and I wish the collision on the game was better. Okay, for instance, here, I'm going to just pull these out temporarily here again. I'll have to figure out if I want those actually there or not. But um, say I slap down some regular turrets here again. What happens, because I'm trying to do all this neat little trim work on the top, these, collision-wise, are counting as full blocks. Um, so it's kind of like you got a block right in front of your turret, um, which really sucks because you would think that these turrets could easily shoot over this and not have a problem, but in reality, they do have a problem. So by me trying to add the decorative block work up here, I'm forcing these turrets not to fire forward. Um, and that part sucks too. I don't like that. But man, I want to do something with this area. I really do. I could indent it in, but I kind of want to do both. I kind of wanted to have some like cut seams in here and get some like Kriel looking lights and things like that. And my only solution really is to raise these turrets up a block row so they can fire over that stuff. Cosmetically speaking, I don't think that would look wonderful at all. So yeah, that part just sucks. And all has to do with game collision models on that one. But I'm going to try. I'm going to try to see how this could look if those turrets were raised up another block. And how it would, how can I make it look aerodynamic? How can I make it look right? Stuff like that. But these are all things, you'd want to take into consideration when building your ships too. I've made the same mistake before too, and put decorative stuff that were interfering with turrets. And now that I know what's going on and why that's happening, I'm doing a lot of extra steps to avoid that. But all these steps, unfortunately, have a way of you can't add as much detail in the end on the ship because you have to compromise on so many of these things. This could work though. This might be able to work with those raised up like that. I get rid of all the extra blocks I got below it now that I don't currently need. Alright, on the front part here, this is a little tricky. Do I get rid of those side pieces and wedge this part out? How would that work? And what could be put here? guess the problem I've got with that is that it looks alright, but it's maybe not quite as aerodynamic as I would like it to be. Looks wise, I guess. This one doesn't really kind of go up quite as much either. And then you got that bulky area right there. You might just have to go with the standard block here. It kind of messes with this angle over here a little bit, but I don't mind that gap so much on the back side because the wind direction would be coming from this way, so it would blow over the top of it. Again, it doesn't matter with game physics, but looks wise, it's just one of those little design cues that I try to follow when possible. Okay, so now the blocks in between these two areas here, I want to find something different, something that could accent that, something where maybe I could get some texture lighting or something in here one way or another. I gotta figure out how to pull this off here. Now there are different options, like if I was willing to put another block row essentially below here, which I probably don't want to do. Never mind. Now I was thinking about like trying to cut into this area a little bit, but I need to find a better block for that. Maybe I'll have to still go with these. But I want it essentially to be an attack ceiling here without holes in it. But I want to fill the area, but I kind of want this indention in here too. So that's starting to work out good. Biggest side effect I got is I'm not sure what to do right here, because if I put in this, I'm going to leave a hole in the ceiling. And I don't want that to be a hole in the ceiling there. But that's really my only solution here. Of course, I could put a block here, and I could fill it in on the bottom side. I'll just put a full block here for now. Undoubtedly get removed, but does that look at all good? Yeah. Looks like it's cut in a little too far to me. I don't know, texture-wise and stuff, it could probably clean up alright, though. Yeah. Tell you what I've really wanted block-wise is an option of a block, and I know it's been brought up to the devs. In fact, another author showed me the graphics they sent to the devs to make it, and it's basically, it's a lot like this block, but, oh man, hard to explain. It's basically, if I could do this particular angle straight across here, but have this go to a half block height on the other side and seal, I'd be really happy. And that's where the problem lies. There's this block which takes it all the way down to the bottom, and I want it to be so it stops here, and this is flat at this area here. So kind of like a weird, like it's a half block on the whole bottom half with this particular same wedge that goes up on one corner of it, and then I could accomplish those kinds of things. But right now I can't really do it because that block does not exist. The closest block to it is this one, and this one, I do like this block, but I want a version where this flat area just goes and fills in the rest of the bottom of the block, and that's essentially it. because using this here also fits, but yeah, hole in the ceiling. And that is what I was trying to avoid. So, alright, we tried those blocks. Didn't really, I don't think it's really doing the job. So let's take a look at a different angle set of blocks. What could I do with these? I don't think much, actually. Maybe, though. If they were positioned this direction, it does kind of seal it, but man, it goes down awfully deep and quickly. And yeah, I still got a hole down there. And it's not going to do it either. Just don't think I have a solution for this. Or I just fill it in and keep it flat like that, which is obviously the easiest solution, but I'm losing potential neat places for texture lights if I do that. Kind of rattling my brain on this a little bit. What could I do? What did I do on this ship? I swear I had something like that. Or no, it probably wasn't this ship. Well, did some funky stuff here with those other blocks in the front. Now on the Kriel war carrier, I did pull off this kind of formation, but I also had 2 block rows deep to work with because I had a double layer hull, which actually gives you a lot more options. I prefer to build double layer hull ships, which are stronger, but unfortunately they're also going to cost a lot more money and be heavier. So not a good idea for a starter ship. But block-wise, because you can run one layer over another, you can create a lot more intricacies in the body because of it. So certainly not against double or more layered hulls. It's a cost thing. I don't know. I could try to do something really out of the box, but I don't think that's gonna work out good either. But you know, so much of this is just trying to learn new stuff that, you know, if you can find a new way to arrange blocks that looks really cool in some kind of bizarre way, you got to try to do it at least to see how it's gonna end up in the end. But man, if I had that one block, the block that would fit here and be that way, that would open up so many possibilities. I would be using that all the time. I use it on the space carrier a lot with a lot of its stuff that's going on. I use it on this ship right here to make this really neat looking indentation that I could keep looking right, I guess. But that's the part that just sucks. I just cannot do that. I could do this though, or I just chop it off at the back. I think I might do that because that keeps the ceiling intact without any holes in it. I get a little bit of an indentation here. I think that overall could work. So on the front part here, I'm gonna take a look at one other block option. And just see what it would look like if I did this here instead. Yeah, something like that. And I could just kind of, I don't know, just taper this little blobby thing that's sticking out here back down again. actually allow me to remove those blocks there. And you know, over here I could try to get in one of these again. I'm going to go with the one that's solid right now. Something like that. Now the blocks here, I'd like to do something with them too. So obviously full blocks are an option, but trying to avoid a big ridge here, essentially. Because I've got this centerpiece now, I can't expand these out more, but I didn't necessarily want to. Take off that row and use these blocks instead. Oh, but that's gonna screw up my turret mount position. Because now I don't have a 3x3 area to put a turret up there with. Always a side effect. But it's a little more aerodynamic that way. Well, let's try something else here. Still ain't gonna help me. Yeah, I'm gonna have to have this stick out over here. Only way I'm gonna get the turret mounted in there, right? Or even on top. And if I wanted to do a retractable here, I'm kind of messing that up as well, because now I've got these angled areas. So the retractable turret, well, you know, it could still be here. I just have to start over here instead. One block row past. Yeah, do that. I know I was just complaining about the retractable turrets, but in this case, it's going to save me some blocks by using them. So at least 18 blocks on 2 retractable turrets for all the blocks I don't need to have below it now. Alright, so now we've got this part. Now I can't add a block in between this and that, but what I can do is try to make something that comes across here to make it look like it's supposed to be this way. And what I've got in mind is making it kind of look like a pipe, but solid bottom, and that's why that's what this block comes in handy for. I'm thinking I'm going to run that right down the center between the 2 turrets and put some kind of like more aerodynamic rampy thing here. But it actually doesn't need to go all the way up either. Could be something like that. Yeah, I think that could work. So in the center here, well, you know, if I'm doing all that, maybe I should just keep this half block row height and then raise it back up when it gets to this point. And I'll get rid of all these unneeded blocks on the bottom now. Yeah, I think I like that. Now we'll just fill that in. Alright, well that's starting to get a lot more definition there. Well, looks like I have a gaping hole right here. Alright. Okay, so now we've got full blocks running across the bottom here. Could I? Not nicely, at least. I was just kind of wondering if, well, maybe. So put that there, and then this block here. Maybe just two of those. Kind of funky looking. I just don't know if I like that or not. Maybe it's just too much. Or maybe if this was brought back. But I'm going to try something different here too. So I'm going to start that here and then go into a couple of these. There. Alright. Oops. Guess what I'm not liking is this right there. Of course, yeah, I could always bring it back to full blocks, but that's so boring. I want something different here. There's that way of doing it. Or, sometimes you can just go right out of the box and be like, all right, let's give up on the curves and let's just try something entirely different. Or, not curves, I meant the wedges, and try like a different block type entirely, like the curve here, to break it up and make it look like it's not supposed to be uniform. That's not so bad, I guess. Definitely gives you some stuff to look at. I'll keep that for now. It is possible I might alter that some more before it's done. Now here, I still don't like my little gap here, so I'm going to try something right here and see what happens. Not that one. So put one of these in place and then replace this one with the one with the edge on it. There, so those line up. And then we've got a little gap on this side instead. But what if I took that block out and went with one of these guys, which also has a lip on the edge? That's gonna screw up the block behind that. I like having an extra lip there. I think that kind of looks alright. Doesn't line up very well with this though. But the problem I'm going to have is oh man, I better confirm before I say anything, but I don't think there's a block solution for this, but let me take a look. Yeah, there's an alternative. There's that. That's going to kind of flare this out more here into a squarish look. But technically, I could, again, remove those turrets and put them a block forward then. Because I'm squaring it off in time. Problem I got, I guess, too, is on the profile here, I wanted this to be pretty sleek. And now it looks to me like it's kind of like jagging up here too much. Too quickly, too much. Nah, I don't like my changes I just did. Let me do a bunch of undos here a minute. Restore it back to kind of how it was. I think that looks better. I don't know about this front part though. I did try those other blocks, but they're kind of like jagging out over the edges and stuff. So, you know what? Take it back further and put back in the blocks that mostly used to be there. For now. Yeah, I think that's going to be the best way I'm going to be able to do this. Alright, so moving on. Sorry about all that. I just want to be realistic with the video. This is typically how things go. Once in a while I get really lucky, and it's like I just lay down some blocks and I'm like, yeah, that's good. I don't want to change it. But more often than not, I'm constantly screwing around with trying to tweak out areas, sometimes multiple times, until I get something that I'm happy enough with. This case is no exception. Just keep on screwing with it until we find a combination of blocks or something that I think works well enough. So I thought I'd try some more curves here too now. So the back side of the turret could use something like that. Maybe I'd use another transition of, let's try something really crazy here. Let's try to go from a curve to a square. And then do something on the back here. Kind of line up to that curve and trim it down back this way a little bit. say hypothetically that the landing area starts here. Oh, ran out of blocks. Let's try that again. Okay, so that, say the landing pad actually went back over this block or two as well. Do get a little tired of doing this same thing, but a lot of times I'm trying to like disguise the hangar door, make it look a little thinner than it is, so I'll fill in the top block row some. We're trying to make some kind of patterns, and if I can get something to line up with the graphics that are on there, that's a bonus, but it's not necessary. Just trying stuff. Alright, well anyway, that's not the key objective anyway. Okay, so now another thing this ship is going to need, simply because it's kind of following standard type layouts again, which I haven't found a way to make it too much more effective, but basically you're going to need a way to get to the landing pad from inside the ship. So this part over here, I'm going to have to invest in putting a ramp or elevator or something that goes down into the ship at this point. I'm just going to fill it in a little bit right now and see what's, try to figure out a good way to pull this off. Now, since I raised it up here, I could technically, or not, I'm not sure. Here, I'm going to try this first. We're going to get rid of those blocks. Let me grab some stairs. I already had some stairs. And do something like, save that. And this would be a door. Have to be a doorway there though. Okay. Grab one of those a minute. I already had those two. Alright, wish there was some alien looking doors, I tell y'all. Hardest, one of the more difficult things about doing the Kriel and trying to make it convincing is the fact that, you know, if I try to do all these things with the blocks and stuff, but then when I have to put in parts, the parts look human. And I can't really do anything about that. I need to test this too, because that might be too tight to fit through. But it's not. Okay, good. Alright, so that is a entry point to the ship. I could do whatever when I get the interior done at that point. Elevator or staircase, either way. Here, I'm just going to try a wedge that's offset on the sides just a little bit here. Maybe something like that. I don't know. Maybe. Alright. For now, I think that's good. Alright, so 2 turrets. Kind of sucks. Want more turrets on this thing. Where would be a good spot to add more turrets? I'm thinking potentially even 2 more on top, and then possibly 2 side turrets, but there's also a bottom. Would it be possible or plausible with the body to get some turrets in, like out over here facing downwards? Maybe if I change the angle here. Kind of thicken it up a little bit. Guess what I'm trying to do is create enough surface area to get a 3x3 turret over here. So the only set that will fit because of that angle is, well, no, that's not true. Kind of lost that, I don't know. I don't mind it, though. I was going to say I lost a little bit of this curvy action going on over here, but I'm not sure if that was a bad thing or not. Except I think it will end up being bad if I continue it like I just did there. Nah, we're not going to do that. What do I do here then? This might be another case for one of the tricky transition blocks. Oh, not that one, at least that way. Or not. Let's see. No, it's just not going to do it. I feel like I'm missing something here. Like I thought there was a block that worked that I had the same problem running over at this other location, and then I was like, hey, that does work. But it would need to have like a 45 slope on one side and the other on the other side. So it looks like it would be this block, but that actually doesn't do it because that switches the front angle to something else. I just have it rotated wrong. Yeah, I had it rotated wrong. Okay, that's better. Okay, so that fits. Bulking this area out here too is probably a good thing because it's going to give some more space on the inside. The most amount I can get on a small ship, the better, because on something like this, it's pretty much, it's all function. I'm not really going to have fluff, essentially trying to fill in stuff that is for cosmetic effect. But I think, though, I should flare this out one row before that other piece here, so it fits right. Alright, well, it's getting there a little bit more. Now, something else I wanted to take a look at too. I know I want my my landing gear down one block row from where they currently are, so this thing will land properly. So what I'm going to do right now is bulk this area up a little bit. As in landing gear for CVs, I'm all about the retractable ones. I hate seeing landing gear on a ship when it's flying. It just looks bad. So there's not many options. Essentially, these two. These are pretty much the only CV landing gear I'm using and have used for quite some time now. I have no idea why I'm... Okay, so let's say we... and, you know, technically they don't need to be right up forward like that either. Well, yeah, they kind of do. Okay, so I'm going to take... and try this. So the landing gear would come down now a block row below where the hangar bottom blocks are. And here, again, want to try to make it look aerodynamic. Yeah, okay. I guess that works. To the place where I've got these thrusters, I mean, I'd like to add like a little block row here, like some trim blocks, but I can't block the thrusters. So, well, yeah, it works how it is, I think. I'm going to do a mass fill on this area a minute. And to do what I'm doing here, I'm holding down the left mouse button and holding control after I drag it out to the first axis, and then you can fill that all the way in. I didn't used to know this either, and a comment kind of gave me a heads up that I can do it quicker. So, good stuff to know. Alright, so a lot of the front part is alright right now. Starting to get a little bit more shapely, a little bit more Kriel-like. Still got more to go on it. But my biggest issue I still got is I want more turrets, and finding places for them is a little rough with the body, and finding enough flat, smooth areas to add those kinds of things. But I will keep working at that. But yeah, I think I'll stop there on the video today. Just gonna do my final little step there. And I know it seemed like a long time and didn't really get that much done on it. But yeah, all this stuff is important. Um, and if I want it to come out looking something like a CV-ish version of something like that, I'm gonna have to just keep on just working it and working it and working it until I can get all the shapes and flares and texture lights and just weird stuff put in the ship. And it will look a lot different texture too. Definitely. All right, well, that's it for today. Part 3. Might do part 4 tomorrow or Wednesday. Not sure yet. Y'all have a good day. See you later.